Hello, this is Pamela L. Coville, Pamela Lewis Coville. Today is Thursday, July 20th, 2023. This is for Dr. Jubert, Grief Counseling and Grief Therapy class. We are in week 3. In week 3, we read chapter 4 and had about 5 group presentations on YouTube that we were to watch. I am about to discuss some of this material. I'm going to go ahead and start with my own academic articles, my 2 scholarly academic articles. In this week, we are discussing group and individual counseling and when it's more beneficial to do group and when it's more beneficial to do individual. Also, the risk involved in all that. But like I said, I'm going to start on my 2 own academic journals that I researched. My first one is called Intervention with Caregivers of Dementia Patients. Companions of 2 Approaches. Comparisons of 2 approaches. And I looked this up in the library for Houston, for HCU, Houston Christian University, under group counseling versus individual counseling. And my first article is Interventions with Caregivers of Dementia Patients, Comparison of 2 Approaches. What I found that family counseling, which is group counseling, and then support groups are very beneficial with the families and caregivers of dementia patients. The study involved daughters, it involved husbands, it involved wives, and other family members. And it just showed that whether it be family counseling, which is a form of group counseling, or whether it be a support group for caregivers and families of dementia patients, it was very beneficial in helping with stress management. This article is by, if I can say these names, Stephen H. Surratt, Sherry R. Anthony, and Mary Boat Zeline. My second article for my scholarly is Counseling Expectations of Clients and Non-Clients for Group and Individual Treatments. This article is by Linda Serbrock and Diane H. Kursall. It showed how there were different views on how females and males portrayed counseling. For instance, surprisingly, a male expects more disclosure from their counselor. The article brought to the point that males are usually still seem to be more private and would not generally really like things like that. But the article showed that when a male is in counseling, he prefers more disclosure from his counselor. It showed that this kind of research and education is good to furthering people seeking out mental health professionals, people going to help when they need it. So there needs to be more research on the different expectations for clients and non-clients and individual and group counseling. And those are my 2 scholarly articles that I researched. I'm going to go on to this week of group 3. In individual counseling, I think in a lot of ways, in general, that's better because it's more private. There's more topics that you can get to in individual counseling, one-on-one, face-to-face as a whole. That's going to be better. But with grief counseling in particular, there can be a lot of emotional, a lot of social isolation that maybe a one-on-one therapist can't really help. That a support group can be just the answer for. Getting a big group setting and that isolated client, patient can really heal. And also with group therapy, being around other people and getting other people's viewpoints and understanding what they're going through with the group of their loved ones, with the grief of their loved ones, can be very beneficial. This class is group therapy and group counseling, but I took another class, alcohol and drugs, about alcohol and drugs, and that's another place that group therapy is very beneficial. One thing you have to look out for, well, several things you have to look out for. There can be people in the group that want to interrupt, and the therapist has to control that. There can be people in the group that want to hog the limelight. Everybody needs to share. We're not there for one person to hog the limelight. So it's the therapist's responsibility to make sure that everybody gets to share. There's a person that when it's time to go home, they want to start asking questions and talking, and there should be a certain time allotted that the group lasts. And when it's time for the group to be over, the group needs to be over, and the therapist is going to have to control the person that wants to wait till the end of the group and start talking and start asking questions. The therapist is going to have to just no, we've got to go, in a nice way. And then there's the client patient that wants to stay after and ask questions, and the therapist is going to have to control that too. I got a lot of our YouTube presentations. I love the idea of play therapy. I think that's amazing and awesome, doing play therapy with children. We learn so much about children through their play. Children get out their emotions so much while they're playing. You can watch a child play. You can watch your own child when they were growing up or when they're little now or when you're babysitting. When they play, they get out so much of their emotions. And the idea of play therapy, I'm very much interested in play therapy. Dance therapy, music therapy, art therapy, I thought all that was interesting. Like they said, some people need to talk it out. Some people need to write it out. Some people need to shout it out. The important thing is to get your emotions out. I really enjoyed this week. This is the first time I have recorded myself on my smartphone. Just finished yesterday with a classmate, Jada Gabriel, who really enjoyed her doing my first Zoom. Now I'm going to end this. I'm going to YouTube it and turn it into Dr. Jobert. And I hope that you have a great day. Thank you so very much.